As we all know, our first chief guest was Shailendra Naresh Kulkarni sir, and our special guest was Dr. Ravi Shankar Sen and Dr. Suresh Shanmugam Sundaram. Well, starting with our keynote speakers. Ms. Rama Goel, CEO, Goto Fast Lane Incorporated from Ontario, Canada.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the introduction. And when you said to all the young students, you already started making me feel very old.
Abhi Saxena, a man of infinite virtuoso, also from Goto Fast Lane Incorporated from Ontario, Canada. These are our international speakers, ladies and gentlemen. Well, giving you an introduction of Madame, she is a transformational leader, passionate about developing teams, organizations' strategic intent and future business models, leading complex portfolios and programs, IT service management, optimizing cost, vendor management, and contract negotiation, assessing risk, cost and IT security vulnerabilities, and so on. Ma'am has got a huge number of experience. Introduction about Sir. He is our Imperial Keynote Speaker of ICAR 2020. His name is Mr. Abhi Saxena. He is also from Ontario, Canada. Sir is the senior IT mentor and has over 2 decades of experience in public sector manufacturing, healthcare, services, and retail sector industries. Sir is a result-driven and self-motivated, dynamic and friendly IT manager professional who has worked through the life cycle of several complex projects. He has led complex offshore and onshore engagements and have been successful in creating high-performing teams through his participative leadership style. Sir also has a bachelor's degree in computer technology, and this was really a very, very short introduction. Let me tell you all, there was a lot about Sir and Ma'am, which is still left unsaid. So Sir and Ma'am, I welcome you. I, Shubhra Srivastava from the team of training and placement, welcome both of you to Rama University to this virtual conference. I hope you're doing well, and I hope this conference would further enhance our relations. Over to you, Sir and Ma'am.
Thank you. I think Rama has logged out or what?
Shubhra. Thank you, Shubhra, for such a wonderful introduction. And good morning, everybody at Rama University. It's amazing. It's always amazing to come back and do something for universities in India from where you belong. So Shubhra said a lot of great words about us. We are probably not that good. We are just like one of you. We'll try to do some justice to the time that has been allotted to us and open the floor for any questions or any inputs that you would like to share with us. So quick introduction about us, right? So we are an organization based out of Canada. So we are headquartered in Toronto area of Canada, and that's where I am based out of as well. Recently moved to Canada, moved to North America a few years ago though. Born and brought up in India, studied in India, and then took my career all the way to across the Atlantic. So we'll talk today a little about our journey of how we got here, and then a little about the conference. The theme of the conference is such an interesting theme about AI and life sciences. That's all the world needs right now, right? So we'll try to integrate and tell you how we are doing things like this today, right? And how each one of you can contribute to the industry, any sector that you want to, by working on these skills a little more. At any point during this conference, during the session, you find that you want me to slow down or you want us to take up any other topic or any other question, please raise your hand, and Shubhra, I'm hoping that you will assist with the coordination there. Okay. First of all, thank you so much for inviting us to this virtual conference organized by Rama University. It's indeed a pleasure always to come and speak to the students from where you come from and share what we know and learn from what you know. Right. So we'll try to do a little of the same during this session, and hopefully it is something that you will enjoy. Okay. Shubhra did a great job of introducing myself. My name is Rama Goyal. I am a BITS Pilani alumni. I've studied my engineering from BITS Pilani in Rajasthan, one of the reputed institutes in the country, and I'm very fortunate to be an alumni of that institute and be able to spread that knowledge that I gained from my technical institute all the way to the world. And that's one piece of guidance that I'll give to every student who is attending this conference, is to never leave your college after you leave your college. It's very important to stay connected because your network is going to be your net worth. I understand that this is a technical conference, but any technology is not complete until you have business and human element to it. And that's what Go to Fastlane is very popular for. So when we do our projects over here in North America, we execute those projects with a human element. And you will see that all through this presentation as well. So have pocketed certain certifications, have written technical books, along with my co-speaker today, whose name is Abhi Saxena. Abhi Saxena is an alumni of YCC in Nagpur, and he's a proud computer science graduate as well, who has been working in Oracle Corporation for several years and focusing on Oracle technologies a lot. He has co-authored this book with me, which the name of the book is FTP to MFT. And if you look up in Amazon, you will also find that this book is one of the top books. It was actually rated #1 ebook by CNN Forbes and Book Authority INC in the year 2016-2017. It was one of the books rolled out by Oracle consultants as well. So a proud achievement, which always makes me think that, yes, it is what your fundamentals of knowledge are that take you places. If my fundamentals from BITS Pilani are so strong that, yes, my foundations are very strong and hence I am where I am. If I can be where I am today, every one of you can be. Understanding this, again, this is a technical conference, but one thing it's very important for all of you to learn is that if I can do it, you can do it. Every person in this conference can, if you aspire to be, can be an entrepreneur one day. And it's always a very fulfilling feeling to come back and talk to the students, to talk to the people that you actually belong to. So thank you for having us here. Abhi, requesting you to say a few words about yourself before we delve deep into the context.
In fact, I would like to thank Mr. Hariom Sharan and Dilip Saini for inviting us for this conference. And it was it was one of the best we have recently attended. And I hope this should be a great success for you guys. And over to you, Rama. Let's continue.
Thank you. We'll spend the next couple of minutes just looking at what Go to Fastlane does, and then go into the content that we present today and share with all of you. So this is our website, go to fastlane.ca. If you at any point of time want to see it, please browse through, stop by to say hello. We offer a lot of free trainings to students. We offer a lot of programmed courses. We offer a lot of strategic services. So talking about our services, what we do is we offer strategic support to our clients in the enterprise world. We work mainly in the sectors of Oracle, NetSuite, and SAP, which are the ERP transformation projects, and also on a small work on augmented reality and machine learning. And when we talk about this technology stack, what we talk about is actually implementing these technologies for the industry, right? And that is the key. What happens is that anytime we come out of a college or a university, we have done a good capstone project, but that project may not be successful to take us all the way through in our corporate life. So what is important is to keep building the business knowledge, which is the end user functional product knowledge, in order to be successful coming straight out of the college. Those of you who are in post-graduation and would have already done spend some time in the industry and come back to do a post-graduation can relate to the fact that when we talk about cloud in the closed doors of a classroom, it's very different from when we talk about cloud in the industries. Likewise, when we talked about NLP or machine learning in the classrooms, it's very different on how it is implemented. And today we will just demonstrate and also talk about some of the use cases that we use in the industry for IoT applications and how AI is embedded in those applications. Some of our enterprise capabilities to glance over, which just stresses upon the fact and helps build some credibility that we are an organization which provides support right from the sales cycle, beginning of the sales cycle, all the way to the managed services of an enterprise application. We have recently been hiring a lot of people in India to start building our capabilities offshore, which is mainly limited in India region, and always on the hunt out for great talent, and Rama University is one of that. I was very, very touched by the theme of the conference. So the theme of the conference made you guys unique and made my interest to come over and talk to you. And what makes us unique at Go to Fastlane is the team that we have put together, which are all the experienced and certified consultants who are bound together by the values which drive accountability, and our approach to everything is about your success. We always think about what is in it for you and not for us, right? And that is what makes us very different. So being an entrepreneurial venture, Go to Fastlane is very close to my heart. Being the founder of the organization, I can vouch for one thing, that success comes only with hard work. Today, it's 1 a.m. over here, and I'm so passionate to talk about this technology and about Go to Fastlane to all of you. And that is what is needed for success. These conferences, one takeaway that all the students attending this conference should have is that if you have passion in a certain field, please continue. Do not give up very soon. You will get to where you want to get to, right? So we talk about technology as a digital disruption. With COVID, things have changed. Today, we are having a conference which is virtual. Where is technology leading us to, right? So few benefits of what technology has been doing to us, a recap of that, right? Sometimes we make technology so much embedded into what we do that we do not even realize that that's a technology component of what we are doing, right? And a lot of work that all the research and development units are doing reflects into what and how we incorporate and use technology on a daily basis. Few of the very key features, and I always call them 9 tenets of digital disruption. These 9 tenets of digital disruption are a comprehensive or a pretty comprehensive look of what technology has to offer to industry. So always, whenever in universities, right, when we are doing a curriculum, always think about how can you use this to make life better, right? Technology is here to serve the society. How can it serve the society? And this slide is going to walk you through the same. So by the way of automation, right, technology's major advantage is that it eliminates any mundane task into a task which is very, very automated, right, and can be performed by robots. Rama University has developed a few robots which were delivering food to the patients in hospitals. How cool is that? That's an amazing use of technology for the benefit of society. Likewise, next tenet is about managing a risk. When you will start working, and those of you have already been working, one of the key fundamentals in any business is to be able to manage risk, right? I, as an entrepreneur and as a leading entrepreneur of this technology sector, always think about how do I manage my risk such that I am covered from a risk perspective, my employees are covered, and so are my clients and partners. Second type of risk is about technology itself, which is also imbibed into the cybersecurity component of technology, right? How do you manage the risk in your technology stack itself, right? So technology helps to beat technology, and that's very important tenet of technology. Technology enables us to combine several data sources. Many of you in your curriculum study about reporting, analytics, right? And technology empowers several data units, different data sources to come together and make an intelligent decision or enable a leader, enable a C-suite executive to make an intelligent decision. How is this intelligent decision possible? This intelligent decision is even made more possible with the use of AI and machine learning algorithms all the algorithms that you code in NLP and different languages using different platforms of AI and ML enable the business users and entrepreneurs and organization founders like myself and many others to be able to predict our success or our failures. It helps in predictive modeling and predictive analysis. And we will come and talk about a case study of one of our clients on how they use AI and ML to improve their productivity efficiency. Technology also, a hidden benefit of technology is also about business process changes, right? We often ignore this component being technocrats. I'm a computer science graduate. All of you are studying in engineering, and this university, this conference is sponsored by the Department of Engineering and Technology. We are so much, our brain is so much wired by the fact that we work along technology. What we forget is sometimes that technology's benefit has to come to business. If business doesn't yield result, the use of technologies is pretty not helpful, right? So it's very important that how business is enabled using technology, right? It's not always about life sciences, right? It's also about profitability, right? Business models are getting very easy with the help of AI and ML, and I'll quickly talk to you in one of the following slides on how is that possible, right? We talked a little about cybersecurity. This is also a very key component of digital disruption. User experience and conversational. This is what you and I are using today. With the power of technology, I am connected back to India and talking to several reputed people out there in India to whom I may not have an access otherwise, right? Likewise, everything that we use today is enabled by smart technologies. We have a smartphone, we have a smart home, we have a smart watch. It's all possible because of IoT and blockchain technologies, right? So these 9 tenets, as a student, if you remember, and even as a technical consultant, right? If you remember about these 9 tenets, you are mostly very comfortable to incorporate technology into your projects, right? It will make you very successful if you have these 9 tenets. And just remember, anytime you do a project, this is where your technology should fit. It will make it very easy for you to do your projects, okay? And let's go to the next slide, which is going to talk about all this in the field of, and how it is relevant to the conference that we're talking, right? So 8%, only 8% of the companies believe that their business model, remember we talked about business model changes in the block above, right over here in the business model changes. So when we talk about business model changes, only 8% of the companies believe that they will remain economically viable through this phase of digitization, which will continue until 2025. Right, so this research was projected until 2025. However, what has happened now is with COVID, the pace of digitization has enhanced, has increased a lot, right? So researchers and analysts are projecting that what we were expecting by 2025, we are possibly going to hit it at the end of 2023, right? Of these 8% of the companies, let's look at the companies who think Internet of Things, right? IoT will be strategic to their success as 58%. And guess what is the percentage of the companies who believe AI, which is a theme of your conference, and I'm very, very glad that your institute actually chose that theme. 85% of the companies believe that artificial intelligence is going to be the key to gain competitive advantage in the industry. This is a huge number, huge percentage for technology disruption, digital disruption to actually become a change adoption issue for the industry, right? So 85% of the companies say artificial intelligence is going to be the key. So every person who's attending the conference today should not only take away that it's important to study AI in your courses, but it's also important to incorporate, think about use cases of AI, not in only in everyday life, but also in the corporate world, in enterprise projects. We are an organization which is mainly focused on the enterprise sector. So the use case that we'll talk today will also be from the enterprise sector, and it can be extrapolated to every other field that we have. Okay. So as I talked about, that we are going to focus mainly on the business use cases. So 4 main use cases that come to the mind when we talk about IoT intelligent applications, which incorporate, when we call IoT intelligent applications, it is about using the algorithms of machine learning and AI to make an application very intelligent and still work over the internet, right? So few use cases are the ability to predict the maintenance of the assets. And we will talk about this use case in detail with a client in Canada who very effectively used AI and ML to build a use case and improve the efficiency of their working. Okay, smart manufacturing. For those of you who have worked in industries, and India is very, very rich in having industries, we export a lot of goods, and we are proprietary for a lot of other leading exporters of a lot of goods, right? So when we talk about smart manufacturing, few things that come to the mind is produce more, waste less, right? How is it possible to produce more and waste less? Only when you have process efficiencies. All of you must be reading about Kanban, must be reading about how Six Sigma is helping. Beyond that, you have your own examples of your university making robos, right? All these are steps towards incorporating intelligence into applications, right? And making production easy, production faster, right? Reducing any unplanned downtime. When I talk about smart manufacturing, one of the very recent deals that come to my mind, and they also happen to be one of our clients, which is Smart Global Holdings taking over Cree LED. Cree LED is one of the first producers, mass manufacturers of LED devices. Not many of us knew that, it was Cree who actually started bulk producing LED until they got acquired. So this is where technology was important all this while, that they had the niche technology, but adoption of the technology only came when there was a business model change, right? Go back to the previous slide where we had the 9 tenants. So those 9 tenants will keep repeating in every industry that you work, in every technology that you work. So keep those 9 tenants in mind and you will be a very successful technologist. Connected logistics and connected worker safety, it's all about being able to analyze how good your logistics are. In connected logistics, I want to give one very cool example of, again, another client of ours who transport strawberries from farmers all the way to the grocery stores, right? The strawberries have a shelf life of less than 5 days. How are they able to transport the strawberries from the farmer, get it to the warehouses, move it through a 4PL solution, and then on to the hands of the consumers like you and I, is all driven by a set of IoT internet-connected applications who fetch the strawberries from the farms, check the quality, check the sweetness of the product, check if the product is ready, check if the product is cooled appropriately, separate the bad product, and this is all happening automatically. It is not human-driven, right? So a very cool use of technology in the sectors, in the enterprise sector. So do not think that it is limited to any particular sector. AI and ML, what you're going to learn in this conference in the next 2 days, can be used in any sector, and we are one of the live examples of 2 of our very big clients using AI and ML analytics, predictive models, very, very heavily, even in the enterprise world space. Very quick view of the same thing, what you can do about asset monitoring, production monitoring. We'll talk about these things shortly. So this is a traditional enterprise model, and I want to spend a couple of minutes here on this slide. So a traditional enterprise model is 2 components separated from each other. One is the business component, which operates the business. Second is the technology component, which tries to drive the business, right? either business gives you money and you are a technology wing of the company and you implemented technology. But these two organizations are still very siloed organizations because business wants something and technology is giving something. Not to deny that latest set of ERP solutions, right? Enterprise resource planning solutions, finance solutions, CX solutions, CRM solutions, like Oracle, Salesforce, amazing solutions. Now these solutions are finding themselves isolated without any predictive analysis and analytics that this traditional enterprise model, which was quantified as a very good model about a decade ago until 2004, 2005, has now become a challenge in itself. Now, what is challenging to the business is that, fine, I understand I can use my account reconciliation in an Oracle ERP system, but tell me, how do I report? Can you make my Tableau reports more intelligent? And yes, AI is what makes it more intelligent. So when you deploy artificial intelligence and machine learning algorithms into this real-time into this ERP applications or enterprise applications, whether they are on the workforce side, that is human capital organization, or in the finance sector, in an ERP world or supply chain world, what you are trying to do is you're trying to enhance the user engagement by providing them real-time visibility, real-time intelligence into business data, and a trust between the two organizations. This trust is also a two-way trust, right? There is a cybersecurity trust and there is a business trust, that is the data trust, that your data is very secured. It is not that you're moving to cloud and your data is getting lost, right? And you apply an NLP on it and you're gone. No, right? So these applications, these intelligent applications are making the enterprise world more secure. Once the enterprise world is more secure and more connected, that is when you get business efficiencies on how to outperform the competition with the advantage that you have in your technology and your business space. Technology in enterprise solutions enables the business to make intelligent decisions, whether I should buy more berries or I should transport more strawberries, right? Are the decisions whether I should invest in research and development or I should do mass manufacturing, right? These are the kind of decisions, and several complex decisions can be taken with the help of AI and machine learning in the world of enterprise applications. Okay. Some of the features which are, again, like the slide number 1 that we talked about, the 9 tenets of technology. Few tenets of a smart application, which is very important for you as a developer to remember, that whenever you build an AI application, enabled application, right, you have to remember that you should be able to connect it to multiple devices, multiple hardware, and multiple applications. The application that you are building should be able to analyze time data, space data. You should be able, and we will talk about how GPS integration, spatial analysis helps businesses real time, right? So the ability to analyze the data in terms of time series, spatial analysis, and real-time processing of the data is key, so that key performance indicators can be derived by the C-suite executives. A CEO or a CFO or a CIO doesn't have so much of time to sit and read through 50 pages of a report. So how do you create a beautiful Tableau dashboard, right? So that they can actually get value out of that. So always remember your application, you should be able to connect, analyze. Your application should be able to do predictive analysis, be able to detect anomalies and provide recommendations, right? And then drive business decisions. These are some of the key features of an IoT application that we use. Abhishek, may I request you to talk to us through the slide, please?
Okay. Thanks, Rama. So, well, here the internet has been around for a while, but it's been mostly the product of people. So all the data and images and recording and games, books, commerce, all of that was created by people, for people, and it is about people. See, the internet is one of the most important and transformative things. And internet is like, digital fabric that's woven into the lives of all of us in one way or another. The internet of people changes the world. Well, there is new internet emerging and it is poised to change the world again. You see, this new internet is not just about connecting people. It is about connecting things. So it's named Internet of Things. So artificial intelligence, we are talking about here, artificial intelligence in at least one of its various forms has an impact on all major industries in the world today. AI has been particularly in the past few years, there have been several advancements in terms of data collection, analysis, and processing. The key contributor to these advancements are robust and Internet of Things connectivity and high-speed processor or processors 245. So when you talk about IoT, basically it depends on the solution you are looking for. For any type of architecture, you need to find 4 components. First one is like sensor, then data acquisition, then edge IT, and then data centers. So if you will go with the machine learning and if you want to apply that machine learning into the IoT application, it should able to do the train detection. It should able to read the statistical information. It should be able to detect anomalies. And based on that, it should be able to predict future state by learning the machine data. And it should be able to give you the recommendation. So there are multiple use cases. You can take the example of like, the customers goes to the retail store and you can notice his behavior. You might have seen a lot of time, you just go to one side, next time Google will show you that particular thing. You like one jacket, next time you will able to see that forms of jacket there. Another applications like, just selecting the number of books, go to like, any bookstore or something online. Once you start reading those books, they will show you same kind of books again and again. So these are the impact of like, IoT. So I think it's very clear machine learning is having a very high impact on IoT devices because it generates a lot of data and data need to be analyzed and redundant data need to be removed and it should get the it should give the predictive analysis and based on the predictive analysis you can do the recommendation. I think we can go to next slide, Raman. So this is more about data science, Raman.
Please go ahead.
Okay, so this is more about like data science comprised of set of techniques that aim for extracting useful information inside from large volume of data. Besides, the data may be available in any form. So what we are trying to read here, we are trying to get the data, we are doing the data in the data normalized form. You might have already run all these things in Oracle when you were doing the 3NF or 4NF data normalization techniques. Then you can use automatic algorithm sections, then analytical model features, hyperparameters, accuracy tracking, and then you apply all these things using automatic AI and ML. You will do the anomaly detection, you will find out the fault predictions, and then you will make the recommendation and end product will be manufacturing, planning, field services, quality, and you will you will come up with the recommendation. So I think data science, it's more like connecting or gather the more data and make a proper recommendation out of this data. Next slide, Rama. I think.
Absolutely. And to add to the slide, what Abhishek stated, right? It's as students studying these courses, right? All of you have courses on data sciences in your curriculum. It's very important that you, whenever you study a course, do not study that course in isolation. When I was in engineering college, that's what I did. right? Study one course because I had to score a good grade in that course, only to come to the industry to realize that no, I had to integrate the courses and study together, right? But our focus is so much on the scoring sometimes that we fail to merge the two together, right? Merge the two courses together. We study AI course and try to get an A grade, and we study data science and try to get an A grade. So try to study the two together. As Abhishek said, right, that you have all studied about data normalization techniques, but apply those techniques and you apply those using the real-time data sensors available in your AI course, and see how you can apply this AI and make a great IoT application, which is enterprise-grade IoT application. We'll talk a little about a use case that we have implemented at one of our customers. So with respecting the confidentiality of the customer, since it's a not-for-profit conference, we'll not be taking the names of any of our clients, but this is a leading client based out of West Canada, who are in the oil and gas industry, and their business is to frack the land, right? So what does fracking mean? How does this oil come, right? So we get oil in our petrol pumps, petrol stations. How does this oil come from? This oil comes from the ground. We all know that. But what is the process to get that done? And that's what is the business of this company. They actually frack the land, that is, break apart the land, drill holes into it, and drill the oil out of those and give it to the companies like Shell or ExxonMobil to sell the oil, right? So this company, so you can imagine that oil is not going to come next to my house, right? It's going to be there deep in the mountains, right? So in tough terrains. So what this company does is they send their assets, that is their physical devices, like they have every device in a truck, which is also called a fracking equipment, is more than $1 million expensive, right? So several of these trucks, that is fracking equipment, is sent over to the mountains where a spot is detected by the sensors and by extreme research that there is gas found on those in that area. So this equipment is sent, which stays there for months, right? Trying to drill little holes in the whole terrain until they find a big pond of oil, right? From where they can actually drill oil out in a safe manner, which doesn't also disturb the biodiversity of the ecosystem there, of the environment there, right? So this equipment will be sitting in the hard terrain for a long time, right? But equipment, like any one of us, right, needs maintenance. So how do we maintain? So right now, before we implemented the solution, this customer was actually having a big challenge of, we look at the next slide, which talks about the challenges, right? So they did not know how and when to maintain their assets. So what would happen is that these are great $1 million equipment. They go to drill, they work, and after some time, if they stop working, or even if one component is not working, they cannot operate the machine because it is a safety hazard, right? To the ecosystem there, to the environment there, and to the workers who are handling this equipment. Because when the fracking happens, it affects the environment a lot, because the fracking is done with an explosion, right? But with also a lot of chemicals which are handled by the employees. If the percentages of any of these chemicals is not right, it can lead to an explosion. So it's a workplace hazard, safety hazard. So they were not able to find when do their assets need a maintenance. Second, these assets are located at such far-fetched places that before you think of sending somebody there, it is already 2 to 3 days past. That means the team is not working for 2 to 3 days. Minimally, once the engineer gets there and finds that there is a problem, right, what happens next is now to fix it. Maybe that solution to fix it is not available there. It has to be brought from somewhere else, or a L2 support is needed, right? A technician support is needed. That means additional loss of days, right? So it was leading to a huge productivity loss for this organization, and it was leading to a lot of unplanned downtime of that asset. So not denying the fact that asset was not utilized well, employee confidence in the organization was going down. They were having a huge attrition rate. So how do you work with all that, right? So this is the problem with which this organization came forward in the market and said, guys, do you have a solution for us? This is the problem that we are facing. And yes, and guess what? The solution was given to them by a connected application, right? By AI ML enabled application, which we helped them implement, which helped them in these 6 ways, right? And was a game changer for them. So this is a real-time example of us, Go to Fastlane team, having implemented a solution in West Canada using AI and ML algorithms, right? To predict, to monitor where the equipment was at that location, detect the fault that is going to happen, and also predict, right, if the fault may happen again. Because this was a problem with this component, yes, this possibly can reoccur. So the element of this was quantified using these algorithms, right? Ability to diagnose something and troubleshoot remotely, right, was also made possible. Real-time monitoring of the KPIs, which always told the CFO that you're not losing money, so don't lose your sleep. It was also enabled to be integrated with multiple applications and cloud environments, such that they were able to close the loop of what my algorithms are in one application to another application, right? So the point that I'm trying to make over here, and Abhishek was trying to explain to you with respect to data science and using AI and ML, is that you are fundamentally changing the productivity of your assets, right? And you're leveraging data to drive innovation. When we talk about innovation, we talk a lot, but how does innovation translate into productivity? This is how it translates into productivity. You just saw an example of us having, and this is not long ago, this is last year, right? A huge organization making use of AI and ML algorithms to improve their productivity and improving overall business value proposition for them and employee morale, right? So it's very important that all of us understand there's a huge opportunity out there which we have to leverage. And conferences like this organized by Rama University, which are focused on, which are giving you focused 2 days to learn about AI from everybody else in the world, are a huge, I will say a rare find. I attend a lot of conferences on AI, but not every conference is focused on use of AI, right? Over here, the focus is to use AI and robotics in life sciences. So you're only going to see more and more case studies on how these are done. So we're going to close off very shortly that innovation combined with emerging technologies, right, leads to transformation. So any cloud applications, and that's what we do a lot with Go to Fastlane, right? So if you talk to any of our students who have studied with us earlier as part of our training programs or our clients, they will always say that we are very process-oriented. So I am very process-oriented person, and Abhi is a very technology-oriented person, right? So this combination helps us drive business transformation, right? So this is the cloud world that you're all aware of, right? We have customers, warehouses, supply chain, finance, data, human capital management. When this is intertwined with emerging technologies like Internet of Things, blockchain, AI, ML, emerging technologies in the field of data sciences and cybersecurity, incorporated with best practices of implementation, that is when your business gets ready for tomorrow. And if we have to make our business get ready for tomorrow, that is our clients, it's very important for you and me as technology consultants to be very ready with what the world needs, right? We are here to make the world better by using technology, and that's what we stress upon as part of our team at Go to Fastlane. Feel free to reach out to us just to say hello at info@gotofastlane.ca. I would like to close this session with a huge round of thanks to all the organizers at Rama University and giving us an opportunity to share how every theme of this conference is tied to a real world example. And we are one of those examples of using the technology. And where session today is that if I can do it coming out of a very small town in India, any one of you should also, every one of you, not anyone, every one of you should aspire to be a very successful entrepreneur in whatever you do. right? If you're a homemaker, be a very successful homemaker. If you're a student, be a very successful student. If you're a teacher, be a very successful teacher. But always understand those 9 tenets of success in a business model, right? Which is about incorporating everything together. So thank you so much from Go to Fastlane, and thank you for giving us an opportunity. Abhi, would you like to say something as part of closing remarks from our team?
I think it's a great seminar. I would like to wish all the best to Mr. Sharan as well as Dilip Sani. I think they worked really hard to make it happen. So all the best, team. And guys, if you have any questions, especially students, please write back on info@go-to-fastland.ca, and we will reply back to you. If you have any questions right now, we are still open for 2 to 3 minutes, and then we will close for this session. Any other remark from the organizers or anyone else? Thank you, everyone.